addressed it in his 14 points. In Wilson's 14 points, he says in Article 4, adequate guarantees given and taken that national armaments will be reduced to the lowest point consistent with domestic safety. Militarism affected their safety. This became World War II, with constant countries fighting for their power with the new weapons, making war simple. It gave the world the same idea of war and the same lasting result. The result was anxieties and uncertainties dynamically, economically, and politically as an effect of the Treaty of Versailles and instability after the war. The dynamic uncertainties advanced the country through science, psychology, literature, and philosophy. This included Albert Einstein's theory of relativity that said anything could change in a moment. This made people fear that everything in their life could change in an instant. Freudian's theory on the unconscious mind made people begin to think they could be doing unruly things without being fully aware of what is happening and the result. Literature and philosophy began to question the meaning of life and what it really means to live. Then, music began to influence by forming complete chaos. All these new elements led to uncertain and anxiety-strung people. Then, economically and politically, they were completely unstable and had to take extreme measures because of desperation and post-war trauma. Then grew the political side of authoritarian rule against the nationalistic rule. At this point, the stock market began to crash. These results formed a common feeling throughout, making people anxious and uncertain about the society they were living in and the Treaty of Versailles that had been signed. This feeling throughout the world made people struggle and stress equally, flattening and globalizing the world. It is said in On Modern Uncertainty by Bertrand Russell that the development of mindsets after war altered the world to globalize, make flat, and make it smaller. With dissolving economy and complete and utter stress, it led to a need for a strong leader, like Hitler. World War II was filled with vicious fighting. Continuous appeasement with Hitler, including the Non-Aggression Pact, gave him what he wanted, land and power. The people constantly appeased Hitler because they didn't want chaos and wanted to leave everyone equal. As Hitler took power, anti-Semitism grew along with the uprising of World War II and the Holocaust. Hitler's influence on the world with racial discrimination grouped all races and connected them. The common feelings within each race of either power or harsh treatment made them all interconnected. War's technology was advanced in all countries, including Africa, because they were imperialized, leveling out countries' developments. The harsh feelings were mutual throughout the world, with common fear of an atomic bomb and death. These connected identical feelings and advancements caused a globalized, flattened, interconnected world. After the industrialization made the world more level and equal, the wars and anxieties were felt throughout the world. All were suffering with the instabilities and losses, connecting the world and making it feel small. The onset and causes of war began with appeasement and the Non-Aggression Pact. The expansion became overextension. Then, the turning point came with Pearl Harbor, affecting the method of fighting to ultimately become an atomic bomb. After the war, nothing was ever completely resolved. There was a Cold War, not physical fighting, but constant tension between the Communist and the Democratic Party. They began to fight to implement their government systems and make all countries assimilate to their beliefs. Once again, assimilation into war and common beliefs of two distinct sides in war formed a connected globe and a smaller world. They tried to force countries without strong governments to adopt the methods of the most powerful countries, USSR and US, and form trade and connections with each other. With larger groups having the same government system and essentially the same economy, it formed an interconnected, interdependent, globe-spanning network of communication and trade. This ultimately made the world Globalization 3.0 and small. With the Cold War influencing new government, imperialized countries believed they finally had a strong enough economy and government that was equal to that of larger countries. This caused the need for decolonization. Decolonization is the process by which the colonized, imperialized countries in Africa and across the globe declare its independence with an economy and government that doesn't rely as much on a larger country. Dadbhai Naoroji says in his speech The Benefits of British Rule in 1871 that the benefits of being colonized were peace and order, education, loans for railways and irrigation, and increase of exports. These positives transferred to the lesser countries after decolonization, contributing to the developments that greater countries already had. These great accomplishments were as great as those of larger, powerful countries, so it put them on the same level, equal and flattened. After lesser countries decolonized, because of the assimilation earlier, they had developed mutual economy, government, and trade. They were still semi-reliant on their old powers. The whole world began to develop a need for one another, were interdependent and interconnected, with constant common qualities as a nation. This cause-effect pattern globalized and flattened the world because of the increasing togetherness and communication in the world. This made it smaller. As one change occurred in industrialization, it started to affect the early 1900s. One change formed a continuous cause-effect chain that was an inevitable natural process. This chain was filled with industrialization, nationalism, imperialism, wars, anxieties, and decolonization. These were the turning points and main events in the 1900s to 2000s that globalized and flattened the world. This was the process that would create a new world filled with Globalization 3.0. These constant changes affected life by globalizing and flattening the world, making the world an integrated, globe-spanning network and closer together, as well as making it leveled and equal. This made the world globalized, interconnected, interdependent, and caused the world to go from medium-sized to small size.